Thanks, Craig.
Oh, we're back to the normal thanks, Craig, this week.
You know.
Last week you gave us a whole interpretive performance.
It was my best Alan coming.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm over being in a sling. Let's just put it that way.
Hmm. I've never been in a sling, but I've been on crutches, so I do know the feeling of just it gets old.
Yeah. So hopefully by this time next week I should be out of it. Knock on wood. But yes. So I go for my appointment on Wednesday. So I'll find out if I am good to go or if I have to stay in the sling for longer.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's the best news possible,
Fingers crossed.
and we can see you back on coasters in the foreseeable future.
Yes. It'll still be another month before I'm allowed back on a coaster. Because it's just this is when I'm allowed out of the sling, and it's still got to take it easy.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so I've
Yeah.
just been going on YouTube rabbit holes and whatnot.
Don't we love a good YouTube rabbit hole?
We do. My latest thing is watching venomous snake handlers.
Watching what, sorry?
Venomous snake handlers.
Oh, venomous snake handlers. I thought you said like Vienna snake handlers, and I was like,
A Viennetta snake handler.
there may be a little bit of background noise here. I have to apologize for I'm house sitting for my mum, and one of the dogs has just picked now of all times to decide
I'm not
she
hearing
wants.
anything on my end.
Yeah, she's being quiet for now, but I fear that that will not last long. Um, so we may have a guest on this podcast episode after all.
Sure. Speaking of venomous snakes,
Yes,
Australia has its newest big thing.
it does.
It does. The Australian Wildlife Park have just opened up the Weigel Venom Centre, which has
Yeah.
a giant brown snake on top of the roof.
Right.
There's a
Okay.
video that's been put out on YouTube of them installing it and everything. It looks awesome.
So is this the Australian reptile like the one on the Central Coast?
Yep, the one in Gosford.
I might have to go. I will be
We should
sure.
make a day of it.
We should. We should go see the big snake.
The big brown
I might
snake.
be I might be swinging through there on my way to Threadbow, depending on how that trip goes. So maybe. Or I mean, it's pretty accessible between Armidale and Sydney, so I could potentially go there at some point.
Um, yeah, for those of you who are international viewers or listeners, a brown snake is an Australian snake that is one of the most venomous snakes in the world, um, despite its very lackluster name. I believe it's the third most venomous snake. I
Yes,
think
it's something like
I
that.
think it's
Yeah,
behind the eastern taipan and the inland taipan.
which are also both native to
Australian.
Australia.
Yep. I think we have like 9 out of the top 10.
Yeah, something like that. I believe the black mamba might be the only one in the top 10 that we don't have.
I'm gonna
I'm
look
not.
this up just because it's
I think.
right in that tickling my brain area at the moment.
I think though, because there's like different metrics. Every time I
Yeah.
see a list of like top 10 most venomous snakes, it's a completely different list. So yeah, like depends on how you measure it, I guess.
The thing is, some of them measure them via toxicity, and some of
Mm.
them measure them via venom yield. Whereas,
Mm,
because some snakes have a huge venom toxicity, but they don't inject very much of it.
yeah, okay. So that's probably why I'll see one list and then the next list has like a completely different top 10. So
Totally.
um yeah, I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure the Black Mamba's the one of the only ones that is up there that we do not have here.
Yeah. Most venomous species. I'm just going on Wikipedia. Blah, blah, blah. World's most venomous snakes. Inland taipan is the number one. The
The steel
Dubois sea, the Dubois sea snake um,
Oh,
is number two. The eastern brown snake, yep, number three, correct. Um, Yellow-bellied sea snake, Central Ranges taipan, Perrin's sea snake, coastal taipan, the many-banded crate, many-banded sea crate, lots of sea snakes, black tiger
yeah,
snake, western tiger snake.
right. Well, that's
Um,
interesting. I didn't know sea snakes so consistently ranked so high.
yeah, very much so. It's just like you see one of those, it's like, ah, get away.
Yeah, I thought that was more of a like just a general snake thing that people were kind of freaked out by the idea of there being a snake. I didn't actually know they were venomous.
Um, the thing with the black mamba is that they have a 100% rate of envenomation, which means that there is a pretty much 0% probability of a dry bite.
Oh, okay.
So some snakes will strike but not deliver venom.
Yeah.
Even though they're capable of it, they try and conserve their venom as a last resort. Whereas a black mamba is 100% will deliver venom with every strike.
Damn. They're meant to be fast too.
Yeah, very, and it's I think one of the most rapid acting venom of any snake species.
Right. Well, I knew that they were scary. I knew that they were big. I knew that they were fast, and I knew that they were quite deadly. So I don't want to see one.
Yeah. Generally, most snakes they don't want to attack you like unless you corner them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you
See,
know,
that's the
s-
thing that people don't get about spiders as well.
mm,
Most spiders, with a few notable exceptions like the funnel web, which is very defensive,
yep.
most spiders don't want to bite. They're very like huntsman spiders. You see them in your room, you can pick them up and relocate them.
Hmm.
They're
Huntsman
very
spiders, I don't look on as um like obviously they're not insects, they're arachnids, but like I don't look at them as like a bug. Like I look at them as a small rodent that majestically gallops.
yeah, they're like an almost a class of their own. But I like having them around. They control insects.
Totally.
Um, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want him near my bed
In
or anything.
my place
Yeah.
of sleeping, yes.
Yeah.
Completely relate.
But they're very, very easy to relocate because they're
Yeah,
so
yeah.
docile. They don't
Oh,
care.
yeah. They just, they're a little skittish.
Yeah, they'll scurry away and they're quite fast, which is probably what
Mm,
spooks people. But
totally.
yeah, I've only heard one story of someone actually being bitten by a huntsman.
And even so, they're not like it's
Oh,
not gonna
yeah.
do anything. It's just gonna hurt.
Yeah, completely cosmetic damage. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
um yeah, believe the story I heard was that it was inside his jacket or something like that that had been hanging on the clothesline, and when he put his arm through the sleeve of the jacket, he actually like kind of hurt the spider, like took off a leg or something like that and crushed
Oh,
it a bit. So the spider was trapped and injured and very, very upset. So
traumatized. Yeah.
yeah. So obviously, um, last resort.
But yeah, the brown snake is probably one of the most aggressive and bad-tempered snakes in Australia. And thing is, they're probably the most common
Yeah.
venomous snake in Australia. Um, they're like responsible, I think, for like a shit ton of of any snake bite deaths in Australia. I don't think, even though the inland taipan is like the most venomous snake in Australia, I don't think anyone's actually died from one of its bites, because I think it's because it lives so in isolated areas. Um, People have to sort of go out of their way to encounter one, and so the people who do get bitten by one are generally snake handlers, who
Yeah.
are then relatively close to antivenom.
You know, the snake I see by far the most commonly is the red belly black snake.
Yeah, that was the first snake I saw in real life, and
They
that
are
was hiding in our woodpile once.
they are all over the place, but they are also very hesitant to bite.
Yeah, they're as far as venomous snakes go, they're relatively timid.
Yeah, they're very docile, very they'll 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 run. I mean slither.
Mm.
They'll flee before they even consider biting.
They just want to be left alone.
Yeah,
Um,
don't we all?
but the death adder is one of the fastest striking snakes in the world.
Yes, my school reverend used to repeatedly tell the story every year about being on a bushwalk where his best friend got bitten by a death adder. Um,
I'm assuming he didn't have a good time.
no, but he did survive,
Goodo.
so that's nice. Um, yeah, we're a terrifying country, aren't we?
We are, but the thing is, like, people will talk about like we encounter all of these snakes all the time, and we simply don't. I
Yeah,
think the brown snake and the red belly black snake are probably the most common in New South Wales to encounter anyway.
yeah.
I think Queensland, they have a few more, like the taipan and stuff.
I've seen the only other one that I've seen on out on the farm in New South Wales with any sort of regularity is a tiger snake.
Tiger snake was going to be my next one. Yeah,
Yeah, we those are really the big three that we'll see is the brown snakes, the red belly blacks, and the tiger snakes.
yeah. I don't think I know anyone that's seen a taipan out in the wild.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Far too wet and cold for them where I live.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, haven't seen one, but yeah, we don't see them. I still haven't seen one alive since I got back to Australia. There was one that was rather dead on the road.
tiger
Uh,
snake or just a
no,
snake in general.
I think it was a brown. Um, but he was very dead. He'd been I believe he'd been run over several times by the time I saw
Right,
him. Um,
bit of a schmear situation.
yes, he was several times roadkill.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I still have not seen a live snake since getting back to Australia. Touch wood, because I'd rather not actually. Um,
Yeah, when we talk about snakes here in Australia, it's because most of the ones we have are pretty venomous.
yeah, it's kind of like you don't encounter them all that often, but the
But the
ones that there
percentage of
are,
ones that you do, you know that they're gonna fuck you up.
yeah, like when you do encounter one, you're like, ah, fuck, it.
Oh, oh shit!
Whoop, whoop,
I
whoop,
think
whoop,
the
whoop.
the only one that I can think of that you'd want to sort of handle is like a diamond python.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah,
They're chill.
yeah.
Um,
But you got to be careful because if you the diamond python and the broad-headed snake have very similar markings, and the broad-headed snake is venomous.
they're, it's kind of interesting that they are like quite significantly larger than most other species of snake that we
Mm,
get in Australia. And as with the huntsman, it's always the big ones that are just the most chill.
yeah, totally.
Our
Although
biggest,
maybe not a king brown.
yeah, king browns are the exception. King browns are just, ugh.
King brown snake technically is not a brown snake; it's a mulga snake.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just another species. Like there's the eastern brown, and then there's
No, apparently it's technically a completely different species.
okay.
Um, I don't know how I know that. I think I've just a lot of uh, uh, learning by osmosis, watching YouTube videos this week.
This doggo right here that I'm taking care of has been bitten by a brown snake and
How
lived to
did
tell
he?
the tale.
My goodness.
Yeah, that I wasn't here, but it's my mum's dogs that I'm taking care of this week, and um, so my mum has a little fox terrier. She has a Staffy Jack Russell cross, which is just the weirdest looking dog I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I'm trying to picture those two in one. It's like a
yeah,
very weird the substance kind of
needless to
imagery.
say, that cross was not intentional. Um, but she's a lovely dog, but she's just the weirdest looking thing. Um, and then uh, because they've got a small farm, they've got two Maremas, which are like very big dogs, um, small horse size, and
Go,
they're
you little horse, you!
they're livestock guardians. So they they'll stay awake all night, like prowling around watching for foxes and other
Right.
things that can cause threats to the sheep and the chooks and everything like that. Um, and it was a big, like a really big brown snake, um, kind of came onto the property, and the Maremas were. I'm telling the story. Excuse me. The Maremas were straight onto the snake, like trying to kill the snake. Um, and the little dogs heard the commotion and managed to get out of the yard and run over and try and help, which was very ill-advised.
Mm,
Um, and the little Jack Russell Staffy Cross, who apparently was actually doing most of the killing of the snake, um, happened to get a glancing bite
oh,
on the chin. Um, Apparently, she was very lucky that it was only like they believe it only kind of half managed to sink its teeth
right.
in. But she was very, very sick,
I
and
can only imagine.
yeah, luckily lived to tell the tale. Um, yeah, but that's just her personality as a dog. She's like she wants to be the she wants to be one of the Maremas, but
Right.
she's not big.
Aw. I'm glad you lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, me too. Now she's very sleepy.
Aw.
Yeah, snakes and spiders.
Ooh, ah. That's what we're known for here. We even
Mm.
named a roller coaster after one.
I think we also had Magic Mountain used to call Sapphire Speedster the Diamond Python.
They did, yes. One of
Um,
our non-venomous snakes.
have
And
they been?
Jamboree have a water slide called the Funnel Web,
Yes, they do.
which has a big thing attached to it.
Yes, the big funnel web. Surely there's more snake themed things. There's got to be, right? Well,
You'd think so.
spider themed things. Aussie World has the redback.
Oh, yeah. And technically, Adventure World has the Black Widow, which is what we call a redback here in Australia.
Yeah, I don't know why they called it the Black Widow.
I don't know. It sounds cooler, I guess.
Adventure World, you're really hurting me with that one because I always praise you for your cool Aussie theming and like your cool like how well you theme things, and I wanted you to do more Aussie stuff, and now I'm just realizing live on air for the first time that they called it the Black Widow, and that's not what we call them in Australia.
I
Hmm.
wonder if what I'm sure there is. There's probably like a difference between an American black widow spider and an Australian redback, but like they're probably related somehow. But I
They look
wonder.
virtually identical, I think.
I'm just going to
But
look it up because I'm curious.
yeah, I don't know. I know that don't Black Widows like you tend to find them more out in the open while redbacks like to hide? They're very like
Um,
you won't see redbacks unless you're picking up an old sheet of tin or something.
They are very similar, but they're not exactly the same.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
they've both got the red pattern on the back. North American black widows also have a dorsal red stripe, which helps distinguish between the two.
Okay.
But they are from the same family of spiders, the
Right.
Latrodectus, which is Latin for black widow.
Okay.
Um, their venom is similar.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that's yeah. I think that's sort of
I think I kind of knew they were related, but I didn't, I don't know. I kind of thought they were maybe even identical and like we just call them redbacks because it's kind of like Australia's call things like servo and arvo and
yeah.
call them flip flops, thongs and whatever.
So same family, but not exactly the same.
Right. Okay.
But I think it's like saying between like an eastern or a coastal taipan and a Papua New Guinean taipan.
Yeah. Right. Are there any other Australian rides that are themed after either snakes or spiders?
Dingo Racer, no, but that is Australian. As far as
I thought
dangerous
you
animals
were
go,
actually suggesting Dingo Racer.
no.
It's like Kieran,
But
dingoes.
I'm aware, but it is a dangerous Australian animal, is what I was
Yes.
getting at.
Oh, yeah. Well, if
Um,
we open it up to that, I'm sure there's probably more. Um,
uh,
oh my goodness, now she's really going off with something.
I think
Holly,
that's
what's
it. I can't think of anything else
yeah, I mean, surely.
outside of like because I'm not sure. I haven't been to Fun Fields or Jamboree.
Um, well, other than the funnel web, I don't know what Jamboree has. They have another one, but I'm pretty sure it's the Perfect Storm is its name.
Right.
Uh, but
Something told me that there was a Taipan water slide somewhere.
that does ring a bell. I know that Wet and Wild has Constrictor.
Right.
Oh wait, no, there isn't another one. White Water World, the blue ringed octopus.
Oh yes.
Um,
Very pretty. Very very deadly.
have you seen all the TikToks of tourists picking them up?
Oh my god. Idiot people.
They actually like stress me out so much watching those
Oh,
TikToks.
right?
I
You're
get
like,
so scared.
"You're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna
This
die."
person, I'm like, I'm watching a person about to die, aren't I? This person's
Yeah.
about to die. Oh my god! Don't touch blue ringed octopuses.
They're tiny little, very pretty things, but they will kill you.
Yep. Don't
Like, I
touch.
think, um, someone told me, and I don't know how accurate this is, I would have to look it up, but apparently, if a blue-ringed octopus bites you, the venom doesn't last that long, but what it does to you is it stops you from breathing. So, theoretically, if someone was to perform CPR on you for 20 minutes, the venom would technically leave your system, and then it would, as long as you were kept breathing,
Right.
you should theoretically be okay. But that's also a bit tall order to ask.
That
Like you
is, yeah.
would need to be very much be put on a ventilator or something like that. And
Yeah.
I think it's oh gosh, I'm going to be talking out my ass here, but it's I remember something along the lines of it being like it affecting breathing and heart and stuff, but only
Yeah.
for a short amount of time. I'm going to look this up because I don't want to be providing misinformation to our listeners.
You wouldn't be the first person. I watched a TV show that literally recommended using vinegar for irukandji jellyfish. And as soon as I looked it up, it was like You shouldn't use vinegar for irukandji jellyfish because their stingers often sting but don't inject. And
It's vinegar for blue bottles, yeah?
yeah, vinegar for another jellyfish sting like that, but because the irukandji's stingers sometimes don't inject, the vinegar can make it like contract and inject more venom.
Right.
So you should just call an ambulance. Irukandji jellyfish are the scariest because of irukandji syndrome.
I'm not familiar exactly what that is, but I know they're very tiny and people accidentally swallow them.
They're very, very tiny. They're almost impossible to see. They Irukandji syndrome is one of the first symptoms you get after being stung, and it actually affects the brain and sends you into a state of um, terrifying paranoia, like
Oh
the
god.
world is going to end, I'm going to die immediately, kind of paranoia. Like just apparently people who've survived it have said it was just this sudden, instant feeling of dread and fear before any like illness had even set in.
Jesus.
Which I'm like, that's horrifying because imagine it'd already be scary enough.
Yeah,
Imagine,
absolutely.
imagine just having this sudden onset of like complete dread. So yeah, that's another
Yes. So
terrifying Australian animal.
there is no anti-venom for the blue-ringed octopus.
Great.
Um, so another reason why people should not pick them up. Um, First aid treatment is pressure on the wound and artificial respiration once the paralysis has disabled the victim's respiratory muscles, which often occurs within minutes of being bitten. Because the venom primarily kills through paralysis, victims are frequently saved if artificial respiration is started and maintained before marked cyanosis and hypertension develop.
Right.
Respiratory support until medical assistance arrives will improve the victim's chances of survival. Definitive hospital treatment involves placing the patient on a ventilator until the toxin is removed by the body. Victims who survive the first 24 hours usually recover completely.
Right. Okay. So you weren't speaking out your ass.
Yeah, I knew one
Me?
of my ADHD hyperfixations would come in handy eventually.
Another thing I'm terrified of is stonefish.
Ooh.
Mainly because I feel like I wouldn't be able to spot one, and also because forget the venom that's going to kill me afterwards. That spine looks like it hurts.
Oh, it looks like it would go right through your foot.
Yep. I am petrified of stepping on a stonefish.
Have you ever heard a band called the Scared Weird Little Guys?
No, I can't say I have.
They have a song called "Come to Australia." Um,
Right.
and they said, "Oh, we wrote this song after the Australian Tourism Board asked us to write a song, spooking the native fauna of Australia." And it goes something along the lines of redback, fauna web, blue-ringed octopus, taipan, tiger snake, and a box jellyfish, stonefish, and the poison thing that lives inside a shell that spikes you when you pick it up. Come to Australia, you might accidentally get killed.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's better than where the bloody hell are ya?
Right?
So much
Or
better.
or see you in the NT,
Actually, I love See You in the NT.
or put some south in your mouth.
Okay, put some south in your mouth is just a rip off of See You.
But I
See
just
You in
love
the
the way that the font was, so it looked like it could either say "put some south in your mouth" or "put some in your south mouth."
Yeah, but it's still a rip off of See You in the NT.
Totally.
I think I've figured out what the dog is complaining about, so I'm going to be right back.
Okay. In the meantime, what shall we talk about here? Um, I could talk about more about venomous animals, or we could just be completely out of the blue and just talk random shit, such as beard care. In I would like to think here of any bearded listeners if they have suggestions on how best to take care of one's beard, whether it be the skin under one's beard or taking care of the beard itself. Would you use a beard oil or a balm? What would be best?
I'm still trying to find the answer to that too.
Oh, were you actually listening?
I caught, I caught the back end of it. Um,
Okay.
can confirm the dog knocked over the water bowl and
Ah,
then got thirsty.
right.
Yes, my
That
phone
is all right.
agrees.
All right with the world now.
Should be. They're drinking very thirstily, so all is right with the world, I hope.
Nice. But yes, I've been having a hell of a beard skin week. It's just yeah.
Mm,
You know how sometimes it can get, I don't know, angry?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bearded guy problems.
I still don't know the solution to that. Any change in the weather or if I change the
Mhm.
product I'm using, it'll affect it.
My solution this week has been a pH balanced cleanser and then just dousing it in coconut oil as soon as I get out of the shower.
Okay. How's that
And
working?
it's well, it seems to have calmed it, but also I feel like I smell like a freaking curry puff.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's I don't know. It's not irritated anymore, which I'll take as a win.
that's good. No, mine's been
Yeah.
pretty good lately. It got a little bit bothered by the humidity when I was up at the Gold Coast.
I think the
So,
humidity is what does it.
yeah. Well, it makes sense because you're probably sweating more underneath it. The skin's getting oilier.
Yep.
It's requiring a much more rigorous clean underneath, which is a lot harder to accomplish.
Especially when you have a lengthier beard.
Yep.
When you have a shorter beard, you can sort of get like a scrubbing brush in there, but a lengthier beard, it's harder to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get in under there. It requires very rigorous cleaning. Um, and yeah, a change in the humidity can be a very big reason why it will suddenly get worse because it will you'll get sweatier and oilier underneath.
Yeah. A big part of that is also I've gotten back into exercise this week.
Yes, that'll do it.
So doing my walks around the park, but it's you know annoying because I bought some spare slings so that I could sort of cycle through them so I could do exercise. They haven't arrived. Ordered
Oh,
them on the 6th of January. Still haven't shown up.
Jesus.
And by next week I should be out of the sling. So it's just like, well, I just
Yeah,
wasted $60 on spare slings
be a
that didn't show
perfectly
up.
perfectly healthy bear by the time those arrive.
Exactly.
Hopefully, you'll never need to use them.
Fingers crossed. But it's just, yeah, I don't even know if they are arriving at this point.
Yeah, that's annoying.
But yes, I have noticed that it's been taking some easing in to get back because I'm even over the last because sort of I went hardcore with my fitness up until my birthday last year, which was in October. And then I sort of gave myself a couple of months off. And then I was like, oh, yeah, okay, over Christmas, I'm going to get back into it because I've got 2 weeks of nothing. And then my accident in Perth happened. And so um, that was further time where I wasn't really able to move around as vigorously as I would have liked. And yeah, it's just set me on the back foot as far as fitness goes. So I'm trying to ease back into it. But I'm definitely feeling the difference after having this much time off.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Ah, just had someone in my comment section say that my rankings of Australian coasters is irrelevant because Motor Coaster is a great ride.
Oh, why do you care about that person's opinion?
I don't. I've just removed them from my
Ha!
comment section.
Hateful comments.
Yeah, that counts as hate speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've officially. I don't know if you've noticed. I've officially added it to the rules of the Discord.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, Rule 10: no shit talking the Keith monorail, and motor coaster sympathizers will be prosecuted.
Valid points.
Yeah, well, we don't tolerate that kind of hateful
Hate
speech around
speech.
here. Yeah, it's a slur.
Tis. I have
Speaking of
not
motor
heard.
coaster,
Yes.
I wanted to speculate maybe on when we might hear an announcement regarding that,
Okay.
because we've established that Dreamworld seems to be interested in working in 20-year windows for the
Okay.
rides. Like Claw closed very, very shortly after its 20th birthday, matter of
Hmm.
months. Um, and now it's got Motor Coaster's got a very temporary looking setup. It's
Yep.
sharing its gift shop with Mississippi Motors. Um, it's got a temporary entrance just down the back of the building.
Yep.
Once King Claw opens, considering how quickly Dreamworld seem to be going from project to project right now, do we think that maybe early 2026 we could hear something about Motor Coaster? Maybe even earlier.
I would hope we would have an announcement before then.
Hmm.
Um, my question is, do we really think it's going to take an entire year for the claw to be brought down and King Claw to be put up?
By how fast they were to start work once they
Yeah,
got off
right.
a morning ride. In case you guys anyone who's listening didn't see it, they had one last ride on the 28th of January, the morning after it officially closed to the public, where they invited press and a bunch of our friends of the podcast were also there, and a few lucky competition winners as well, all got the last ride on the claw. They did that at about like 7:30 in the morning. And then literally after they all got off the claw, the workers all just stepped in and started pulling down all the fences and putting up hoardings to start deconstruction. So I would say the claw will be gone very, very quickly. The question is, how quickly do Intamin get parts over here for the new one? Um,
It's like
you
the
know,
embalmers moved in straight away.
yeah, they really didn't. There was no ceremony about it, was there?
No,
It was very like
it's like
looking
they
at
unplugged and the embalmers went straight in.
they were like, all right, that's it. Let's get down to business. They
The
they were
body was
still
not even cold.
they were still walking out of Ocean Parade back towards Main Street, and they had the tools. Jags showed in his videos. They had the tools sitting on the pathways in the queue, ready to go for when they got
My
off the bus.
God.
They wanted it gone, man. They were like, let's get to work. Which I will say, credit to them. If this project runs late, it is not going to be due to any lack of trying.
You know what I think it is? I think it's less about the time that it's going to take it to get up. It's more about the schedule that will happen of sort of having a window of a ride being down and then the knock-on effect on other rides that may have to be replaced or be installed after that.
Maybe I think what they're doing and why they're rushing into this is maybe that if anything's going to cause delays, it's going to be the construction of King Claw,
Yeah.
because parts could get delayed from Intamin, or maybe the theming is a little bit complex and it might take construction crews a little bit longer. So you know everything's there to pull it down. They're not selling it on, so they don't they're not selling the ride model anywhere else, so they don't have to be careful about it or anything. Might as well just get in there and rip it out, like go for it.
Mm.
And the quicker you can get that done, the more time you have to mitigate any delays that happen with the construction. So, like, credit to them. It's they're getting in and they're putting their heads down and getting to work by the looks of things.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if it's going to be well themed at all.
I think by that that weird newspaper article thing that they posted on their
I didn't.
socials.
I saw people post about this, but I didn't actually look at it because I thought the link looked dodgy as all hell. So I was just like,
Hmm.
"What is this?"
Well,
Um,
there was like a fake newspaper article with the same design as um as like the original concept artworks for King Claw that we got, and it has this like this story, this backstory of this monster that's terrorizing people off the waters of the Gold Coast. So they're definitely going for lore, and I think that's a good sign at this early stage that theming could be on their mind.
okay.
Um, I also believe, will I get in trouble for saying this? I believe that it is heavily speculated that Pico Play are involved again.
I still need to listen to Dane's latest episode.
I
But
haven't listened
again,
to it
what
either.
a coup!
Yeah,
Dane is knocking it out of the park with his guests.
he's pulling in the contacts. Yeah, getting a contact from Pico Play is really cool. I haven't listened to it yet either, but yeah, that'll be really cool to get some insight. But yes, I do believe there is heavy speculation that they're involved again. I don't think that's confirmed. Um,
I mean,
but
I'm all here for a Cthulhu themed ride on theme park
hell yeah,
ride.
Aussie Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure that people will name it something Australian, but it's Cthulhu.
It is.
Like,
It looks very much like Cthulhu.
yeah. Um,
Speaking of rides being dismantled, though, quickly to jump topic, I
sure.
have a really bad feeling about what's happening at Movie World because they've done
Regarding Doomsday,
Doomsday. They've done something really weird, and that is they've reopened the area to the public now that the ride itself is gone. Foundations are still there. Every like ride operating hut is still there. They did pull down the signage, but mostly everything else except for the ride itself is is still there. And
why
they've reopened it to the public. I'm so confused. But what I'm worried about is that that means this is not,
a permanent thing?
yeah, it's, or at the very least, whatever they're doing is not a complete retheme of the land.
Hmm. I will wait and because I'm not convinced that they will keep it. I think it's had too much bad word of mouth about it that
When I was
I
looking at
can't see them
Jags,
doing it, just
yeah,
reinstalling it.
I don't know. When I was looking at Jag's Instagram posts, I kept saying to myself in my head, surely this is being removed. Like it looks like it's being removed. They've gone too far for this to be maintenance now. They've pulled the whole structure down. The ride was unpopular. Surely we can say now that this is a removal. But I kept thinking in my head, yeah, but Movie World haven't taken it off the website. Movie World haven't announced anything. Movie World haven't announced that it's being retired. And there was just this little seed of doubt that I'm like, have they like ordered a new model from Intamin? Or
It
is this
wasn't
like
the
a,
greatest twin hammer ride in the world anyway, so
yeah, my other thought is maybe they're doing some sort of like full reconstruction or they've gotten Intamin to, maybe it was like whatever happened was on warranty and Intamin's doing a refurb of it or something. I don't
hmm.
know, but there's something weird about the fact that if they're really demolishing the area to redo it, why would they reopen this area back up with like just still exposed foundations of the ride there?
I think it's most probably because they need to give people a reason to go up that end of the park aside from Wild West Falls.
Maybe, but does anyone
And
really
if
go up there just to interact with those statues?
oh, I don't know. It's like it's the most themed part of the park aside from Wizard of Oz.
Say maybe even more than Wizard of Oz.
Um, I'd even argue that the Wild West area is the most themed, but
I've never seen anyone in there. I don't think I've seen anyone interact with any of those statues or anything since like when they first opened.
mm. Well, because I think they had this idea that it would be like um, Super Nintendo World, and it's just not as there's no games to do to for people to really have any incentive to interact with like any kind of RFID system. Um,
Hmm.
so I think it was a little optimistic of them to think that it was going to be just like Super Nintendo World.
Yeah. It was. This is why I want them to move that stuff down to DC Rivals. Because
Yeah.
just to scatter it around an area that already has plenty to do,
Mm,
they're fine. They're little, Disney has that kind of thing all the time, like the sword in the stone thing that they have,
yeah.
where you can try and pull the sword out of the stone. Like that kind of cute little thing, it fits in, and when you're not putting the burden of it carrying the entire interest of an area, then it's fine. Someone will come along and do that, and it'll be cool and fun.
Yeah.
Um, and also, I think that consolidates all of their DC stuff
Yeah.
all in the
Keep it
one
all in the
place.
one area because don't make it DC World, make it Movie World.
Six Flags Gold Coast.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
We're about
Okay.
45 minutes away from me potentially getting banned from Village Roadshow parks. By the
Yeah,
way,
let's let's change the topic because we can't have our
well,
third episode of bashing Movie World in a row.
I've got a half-hour video that bashes Movie World, which is premiering at 9 p.m. We're recording right now at 8:14 p.m. bashing Movie World. I might be in trouble.
We want you to be good, Movie World. We
I
really
don't
do.
think they like me very much. Um, yeah, no, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was a very curious turn of events for them to suddenly reopen the area. Because I would have expected if the ride is gone and they are definitely removing it, even if they haven't decided what's replacing it yet, surely you get the removal done and you keep the whole area fenced off while you get it all done. Like why?
Yeah, it's a very curious thing to do. Um,
Yeah. I'm not sure
I
what's
guess it's
going
a
on
wait
there.
and see situation. Yeah.
Yeah, keep an eye on things. I'm sure Theme Park Ogre and Jags and all of the likes of that will be keeping us updated. I'll be watching it very curiously because I'm not sure what to think of that situation now.
Um, I still have not heard any hide nor hair of a Wild Mouse reopening date.
I know nothing now that I didn't know last week. Yeah, it's look. I want to give Luna Park the benefit of the doubt. I know that early on in that process, it was a little bit messy.
Right.
Um, they didn't, things were not really being handled as well as they could have been, and it was all a little bit of a mess. But I know that it's back on the rails. I know that they're now pretty much done as far as I'm aware, because like the cars are on the track. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what's causing these further delays. It's a complicated situation having to get it recommissioned and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll open soon.
I may go in March just to give it a go. Because surely they said summer 2025.
Mm, yeah,
So this
I'd
they said
say
this summer. So not
it's got to be close. It's
yeah.
got to be close. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think of that situation right now. I'm planning on maybe going down there around March as well, if but only if it opens.
Mm.
Um, if it doesn't, I'll do something else.
I've let my annual pass lapse. Yeah, it's just one of those
Mm.
things. Just
Yeah,
hope they get their shit together. I know that there's probably been a whole bunch of other stuff going on with the sale of the lease and whatnot.
yeah,
But yes, I am curious to find out what's going on.
yeah. That was big news when it happened. I don't know if we discussed.
I think we briefly touched on it, but I don't think we
They
went
they
into heap of
yeah.
depth.
After all that, and after how worried I was that they would struggle to find one, they found a buyer.
Yes, they're a hospitality business, I believe.
Mm.
So that has me um worried that they're going to treat it more like a venue and less like a amusement park.
I mean, the previous owners already were.
Yeah.
Um, they were very much more, and it makes sense. I've got to be honest, because what doesn't make sense is these events that these installments that they're doing in the Big Top. Because when I was there, the way the park was making all its money was events at the Big Top, events in the Crystal Palace, and events in there. They've got that other space right up the front next to the face. It was just venue hire was like their big cash cow.
Mm,
Um, and then the park was just there because heritage. And
yeah.
actually, quite more often than not, they were probably running it at a loss because there was quite a few days where attendance was practically nothing. Um, so it makes sense. It's far more profitable because of the venues than the park is on its own. I'm still confused about why they're doing these weird installation event things in the Big Top.
Yeah, it's like trying to keep that venue relevant to everyday park goers
But it
when it's
shouldn't
not
need
being
to
used
be.
for events.
Yeah, it well, but I feel like also they probably can't do any events in there while these things are ongoing
I just
because
assumed
like
that it was a couple of projectors set up and just projected on things on the bare walls. Like,
maybe well I don't know if it would be the bare walls or if it would be they'd need some sort of projection surface set up. They'd also probably need seating set up.
I haven't actually, to be completely truthful, I haven't actually gone in and looked at it. Doesn't really interest me that much. Um,
Well, the Big Top's it's a proper concert venue,
yeah,
and
I've
it's
been in there.
fully
I saw the Venga Boys there once.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's also what's good about the Big Top is that it's fully completely transformable. So like all of the seating's completely retractable.
Hmm,
Um, that space can just be turned into one big warehouse if you want it to be, if you're doing like an expo or something like that. But then you can fully retract out the seats if you want to do a concert or a show or whatever.
right.
Um, so like it's good like that, but I'm still really confused because I feel like they're using up that space and not. Have there been concerts in there? Have there been events in the Big Top?
Well, there was the big New Year's Eve one that they just had.
Yeah, so they do that every
Mm.
they do Harbor Party every year.
But also, I'm probably not the right person to ask because I'm not on Facebook, and so I have no idea of
I
Facebook
haven't seen
events
anything.
that are hosted
I
there.
ha I haven't seen anything, and honestly, I would hope that that maybe this operator with a more of a background in, just kind of pubs and that sort of thing would maybe take it back in that direction of it like, "We wanna host big events here. We don't wanna do" God, what's that ABC Kids show that they're doing a exhibit of now?
Oh, isn't it like veggie saws or something?
Veggie Saws, that's it. A thing that I just learned existed.
When I first heard it, I thought it was like a Veggie Tales thing, which is like a a Christian
Christian.
children's
Yeah.
show.
Yep.
So is this unrelated to that, or is this
I think it's completely unrelated. It's an Australian
okay?
show. Apparently, it's quite popular. I
Okay.
looked it up because I was gonna make fun of the fact that the best thing that Luna Park could get was veggie sauce, and it turns out that I think it's like the fourth most popular Australian children's show right now, behind Bluey, The Wiggles, and something else.
Well, Bluey and the Wiggles are sort of phenomenons in their own right.
Yeah.
I only this year realized, not this, like, last year only realized how big Bluey was.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, like it's Peppa Pig big.
Yeah, it's massive, and rightfully so. Have you ever watched it?
I haven't.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
It's possibly the best kids show I've ever seen.
Oh wow.
There's some episodes that make me cry hard.
Like
It's
emotionally or laughing?
emotionally.
Oh,
It's very Bluey's very much geared towards being, like Shrek and the Lion King are targeted at like your 8 to 12 demographic, but then you have bits that'll go over their heads and so that adults can still enjoy it.
yeah.
It's like that, but it's not inappropriate humor. It's like deep, meaningful undertones. So it's targeted at like, your 3 to 6 year old demographic. But then an adult can watch it and just the depth behind the stories that they're telling is really touching and really beautiful. Um, it goes into some really big topics like some of the ones that really make me cry, like talking about losing children
Oh
and
wow.
like what it means to be a parent and there's episodes that talk about like kids with disabilities and then there's like just more surface level ones about like the meaning of friendship and why it's okay to let friendships go and like it's so beautifully written.
Okay.
I'd highly
I have to
recommend
actually
watching it.
give it a go.
Yeah, they're only 10-minute episodes too, so it's very easily consumable.
It'll have to get in the queue because I'm currently watching. I've gone down the slippery slope and I've started on a second Real Housewives franchise.
Aha. I thought it would
And
be something like that.
I've started on Real Housewives of New York City, and the first 2 seasons I did not live. I was I was like, I'm not a fan. I'm not enjoying this. And now I'm onto the 3rd season. It's finally getting somewhere. I'm like, okay, cool. Now you've got me. But
Right.
it took
Good.
me a while to get on board.
Yeah. A slow burn.
Oh, that first season was slow. I was like, when is something going to happen?
My my sister and my mother obsessively watch maths.
See, maths I can't get on board with.
I can't stand it.
Yeah.
People make me
Um,
angry.
and I know that's probably pot calling the kettle black, but it's just I don't know. I love trash, but that's just a trashy bridge too far for me.
Yeah, fair enough. There's some shitty people on maths. Love
And
Island
also,
too.
when maths first started, it was before gay marriage was legalized here. Um, and it was kind of offensive that people were saying that, you know, the concept of the gays getting married would ruin the sanctity of marriage, and then you had maths that was raking in solid viewership numbers, where it was
Yeah,
just
the sanctity
people
of
literally,
marriage.
yeah,
And you've got this like just
peop
the most base level shitty entertainment.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think part of me is just haven't watched it on principle, even though,
Mm.
that whole, you know, gay marriage has been here in Australia for a long time now, well, relatively. Um, but, it's yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into a full political diatribe.
About maths of all things.
Oh, yeah. Maths and the state of the world.
Yes. Ah,
Um, But Bluey, I'll definitely give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely give it a go. When you do reach out and ask for episode recommendations, because it doesn't go like there's no underlying plot, so it doesn't go like
There's no
season by
story
season.
arc.
Yeah, there's no story arc or anything. So there are, and I don't even believe the episodes are numbered. They just all have like little titles, like Turtle or something like that. So
How
yeah,
many seasons are there now?
oh heaps. Actually, what are they up to? Like, hang on, let me check on ABC iView. They've got way more episodes than I thought they did because they produce a lot of content per season as well.
Right.
Let me look it up. Bluey. Okay, no, they're only, well, at least on iView, they're only up to series 3. But yeah, there's a lot of episodes per series.
Okay.
So it's fairly substantial. I believe there's a Bluey movie either in the works or maybe just came out.
I think I have heard something along those lines. And also, although we have ABC Kids World, I believe Bluey has different theme park rights.
Yes. Well, it's currently got that exhibition in Brisbane.
Hmm.
I don't know, is that I think that's meant to be a permanent thing.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Bluey's World. Yeah. Interactive experience in Brisbane.
But
'Cause
also, I
that's
think
where
Dreamworld have clearly expressed their desire to go after their own IP now. So
yeah. Well, Bluey's based in Brisbane.
right.
Like
Oh,
the
because it's all like Queenslander houses and stuff like that.
yeah, Queenslander houses. There's actual places that like you see in the background. It's all
Okay.
based on a real part of Brisbane, I believe. Um, so yeah, like makes sense that that's where they'd open Bluey's World. I should go to Bluey's World.
Do it.
I will. Oh, okay, so no, it is not a permanent thing.
Okay.
It is it opened on the 7th of November last year and it's running to the 14th of September this year.
Okay. So
Uh,
the good part of a year.
yeah. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely go to Bluey's World because otherwise I'll miss out.
Bluey's World, the Australian Reptile Park.
Still never been to Australia Zoo either.
I've not either. I've not even been to the new Western Sydney Zoo either.
I didn't know it existed for a long time, even while I was living in Sydney.
It looks like it's one of those places that needs a good 5 years for all of the trees and foliage to grow in, because
Yeah,
it
I
just
got
looks
that
like a
vibe
massive concrete
too.
heat sink at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe too. It reminded me a little bit of well, it's kind of that same vibe of every new park or new whatever. Lotte World Adventure Busan in South Korea had it when I visited. Because I
Okay.
believe it opened like middle of 2022 and I went early 2023. And there's just this kind of it's almost everything is so neat and new that it's almost ugly in a way. Like it
Sydney,
doesn't yeah, it doesn't kind of well, I haven't been to Sydney Zoo, but it looked like that from photos I've seen.
right. Well,
Like it
speaking of Bluey, Sydney Zoo now have a Bluey live on stage show.
oh, of course they do.
Just looking
Why
it
not?
up now.
There you go. But yeah, there is that feeling about new things I get sometimes where if things aren't like a little bit I feel like things have to be worn in a little bit
Oh, totally.
before they reach their ideal peak aesthetic.
Well, okay, it's been there for about 5 years now, so surely the trees and foliage would have grown in by now. I'm trying to find something that's
I
okay.
think so.
5 months ago, okay, the trees look like they're starting to sort of fill out.
Okay.
Um, just watching some random video. I don't look at the path. Tilt up.
While I'm in the Discord trying to justify my fear of Ferris wheels.
There's lots of dinosaur sculptures there.
Okay. Why?
Beats me.
Why does everything have to have a dinosaur thing? Can we stop
Like
doing dinosaur things?
literally like Dilophosaurus sculptures and everything.
Not every amusement park has to have a dinosaur thing.
I think it's a seasonal thing. They call it Dinosaur Safari.
Right, okay. If it's seasonal, I'll forgive it. It's a thing I noticed in Europe, though. Every single theme park has to have a dinosaur area.
The Jurassic Park flow over.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still looking at all these videos and it's just not enough trees in this zoo. Plant more trees, people.
In a zoo of all places as well.
Yeah.
You'd think that's in their interests to appear as natural and as green as possible.
Like it's nice and everything. The trees they do have look like they've grown in, but it's still you're not getting a whole bunch of shade over the pathways and stuff.
That's always a big mistake in Australia. Get shade at your own peril.
Yeah.
No one's going to stick around for a full day at a park if it's like 35 degrees and there's just raw concrete stinking up the place everywhere.
To be fair, this place isn't concrete. It looks like it's that compacted granite stuff.
Right, okay. Still, it'd be like being in a frying pan if it's a
Oh,
good sunny day.
totally. Oh, but they have capybaras. Okay, you're getting less hate from me now, Sydney Zoo.
Capybaras are on my S tier of animals.
It
I've
is on my bucket list to go to one of the capybara cafes in the world.
I've ranked animals from S tier all the way down to F tier,
Okay.
and capybaras are in the S tier. They are among the ranks of penguins, which are actually penguins are a rank above the rest because penguins are my favorite animal by far.
Okay.
But then others that are in the S tier are like octopuses.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm on with you on octopuses, octopi.
For me, owls. Owls are an S tier
Yeah,
animal. I fucking love owls.
owls are cool,
Pygmy hippopotamuses.
right? The Mudeng effect.
Yep. I kind of was caught up in the Mudeng hype until oh god, no, I've forgotten his name. Mudeng's rival came along. The penguin at the Melbourne Aquarium that's huge.
I'm not familiar.
Oh god, why can't I remember his name? Giant penguin baby is what I am googling right now. Pesto.
Pesto or Hesto?
Pesto, as in the food, pesto.
Okay.
He's
I've got to
akin
say, Sydney Zoo are selling me. They've also got meerkats and otters.
oh, oh, both also S tier animals.
Yeah. Okay, you're selling me, Sydney Zoo. And for those unfamiliar, for international viewers, Sydney Zoo is a zoo that's out in the western suburbs of Sydney and should not be confused with Taronga Zoo, which is the one that overlooks Sydney Harbour with a very picturesque backdrop.
Very confusing of them to name it Sydney Zoo, by the way. Bit of a dick move, I'm going to be honest.
A little bit.
But, you know, I'll withhold my judgment until I see their capybara, meerkat, and otter exhibits.
I think that they were stuck between a rock and a hard place because you have Taronga Zoo and you've got Western Plains Zoo. And then you've got this one that's supposed to be right in the middle. So you calling it Western Sydney Zoo or Sydney Zoo was going to be contentious either way.
Yeah. I feel like Western Sydney Zoo would have done fine. Because Western Sydney's like a distinct area.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pesto, the king penguin at the Melbourne Aquarium. How much is 50 pounds, like weight wise?
Well, 1 pound is 0.45 kilos.
So 50 pounds. So 23 kilos.
That's a hefty penguin.
Penguin chick. The
So it's
baby.
only a chick.
Yes.
How big is
22
that
and a
fucker
half
going to be?
kilos. Look up Pesto. It's
Okay.
huge.
Pesto penguin. Gosh, this better not come up with some fucked up recipe. Oh, he's all fluffy.
He's a big boy. He chonka.
He is a chunky little boy, and he's all fluffy and downy, and he's tall, as big as all of the fully grown ones.
Yeah. Mad. Imagine being born as tall as your parents.
Um, yeah, that's wild. Oh, there's like a YouTube short where it's Mudeng versus Pesto.
Of course there is. I bet it's absolute brain rot too.
Oh, 100%. It's ranking them on like speed. Um,
That's actually kind of my type of humor.
it seems like something that'd be right up your alley.
It's like video
round
game stats.
round one is speed, round two is fluff,
Oh, please tell me it's like a
round three
brawl
is
of
is
video
chonk.
games. Brawl of video game stats. Oh boy. Oh, now I want to go to Melbourne Aquarium and see Pesto as well.
Oh,
Also, what zoo is Mudeng at, actually? We're like talking about months old memes here. This is definitely not entertaining content, but whatever. Khao Kiao Open Zoo in Sriracha, Thailand. I have no idea where that is in Thailand, so I'm gonna have to look that up.
the birthplace of the hot sauce.
Sriracha?
Yeah,
Well, it's not spelt the same.
it's different. I believe the Thai spelling is different. Because
Sriracha.
it's an island that the hot sauce was born on, and Thai sriracha is very different to the one that's now popular in the States and is
Oh,
found Vietnamese restaurants. I think the Thai version is a lot sweeter.
okay. I'm fact checking you live, by the way.
I watched an entire documentary about sriracha by a guy named Griffin Hammond.
You are right. It is created in Sriracha, Thailand. There you go. Mudeng territory.
Famous for two things now: punching above their weight, sriracha.
I've got sauce and hippopotami.
Yeah, spicy hippo.
Also not too far from roller coasters by the looks. Hint, hint.
Ooh,
Yes, we'll see.
what is the closest uh
Well,
roller coaster?
judging by, I'm not sure if it'd be the closest, but the closest of significance. Judging by Sriracha is. Hold on, I'm looking at a map of Thailand to fact check myself here. Yeah, actually, it is like really close to Pattaya City, which is where Pattaya Park is. So,
What are they famous for?
Slalom, the in-house built roller coaster that has a spiral lift hill and just the most bizarre layout of all time. And they also tried to build a knockoff of Tower of Terror.
Okay.
Like literally, the owner of the place went to Dreamworld, saw Tower of Terror, said, "I want one," and went back to his resort and tried to build one, and it failed very badly.
Oh no.
Um, but the other roller coaster that he built works, and it's still there. So
Slalom, okay.
slalom, yes.
When you were talking about a spiral lift hill, I was picturing like Zambezi, the original Zambezi Zinger.
No, we're talking like Zamperla Volare style.
Yeah, it's got like the big KitchenAid mixing attachment thing.
Yeah, the big egg beater.
Yeah. I'm glad you know what I was picking up what I was putting down.
Well, I've been on 2 of them now. I should know the egg beater lift hills. Yeah, Zamperla's still they didn't stop doing them after the Volare. I didn't realize that the Puss in Boots roller coaster at Universal Singapore has an egg beater lift hill.
Okay.
It came as a surprise. I was like, "Oh, okay." I thought Zamperla were done with these, but okay. All right. I suppose we should wrap up this episode because we actually
This
have
all
gone.
over the shop episode. This
What a bizarre episode.
wildlife filled episode.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of different animals. Maybe next time we should actually do that S to F tier ranking. Let's rank
Of
every
animals.
animal. Next episode, we should rank every animal.
Every animal. That's going to take longer than an hour and a half.
All the main ones. We'll
Okay.
rank all the main ones. Join us next week when we rank all the animals.
Everyone.
And yeah. Anyway, Kieran, where can they find you if they want to see more about you before they hear about your animal rankings?
You can find my YouTube channel at at ejected. Where are my words? My God, at ejected bear time on YouTube, or you can find me on Blue Sky at ejectedbeartime.bsky.social. Oh, finally got that out there. How about yourself?
I'm sorry, I have to stop laughing at you for a second.
I swear I had some kind of synaptic misfire.
I thought that my Discord had started glitching.
No, I did.
From from my perspective, it was just like so I thought that it was glitching. Oh my god, that
No,
was so
just my
funny.
brain. Not
Oh,
braining.
if you want to find me, you can find me at Maloney's Coasters on YouTube, Instagram, at maloney's.bsky.social on Blue Sky, and at Jake from Maloney on TikTok.
Until
Yeah,
next time,
this has been
a bunch
an absolute bunch of
of
total
total baloney.
baloney.
What a bunch! What a bunch!